Good morning, Bucknutters. Welcome to the Bucknuts Morning Five here on Wednesday, June 15th, 2016. I am Dave Biddle. Very happy to be joined by our Steve Helwagen. Steve, first question out of the gates here. Are you surprised Ohio State does not have any 2018 commitments yet?
Yeah, I think that is somewhat interesting, Dave. I mean, when you talk about the damage that they've done with 2017, the fact that they can now whittle down their pool of 2017 prospects basically to a list of national top 100 players. They don't need to reach on anybody, and they can just work on those 8 or 9 guys to fill the last 3 or 4 spots, whatever it may be, in the 2017 class. And this should give them a running head start on 2018. I think they're in good shape on a lot of guys. I don't know that it's unusual in June before a player's junior year that they don't have a lot of, or several verbal commitments. By this point, they've had some before in previous classes, but none yet for this year. I don't think it's out of whack. I think it'll happen. And again, they are in on so many great players, it seems like to me that it's inevitable that somebody's going to pull the trigger here at some point for 2018.
Yeah, Phil Kurlick said pretty much the same thing. I talked to him about it. I'm just going to read what he wrote to me. I asked him if he was surprised, and he said, yes, I am a little bit. He says, I think they have learned a bit from Sibley Clark, and also the top Ohio guys they really want are not ready to decide yet. But the 2018 commits are coming. I don't think it'll be a lot longer until the ice is broken. That is from the Dean of Ohio State Football Recruiting right there, Bill Kurlick.
There you have it. There you have it.
Exactly. So no 2018 commits yet out there, Buckeye fans, but they should be coming soon, fast and furious. So as the Dean said, the ice will be broken soon. Steve, a guy that was at the one-day camp yesterday, you covered it. Adrian Jackson, he's a 4-star outside linebacker in the 2018 class. He says Ohio State is at the top of his list. He's the number 1 player out of Colorado, number 13 outside linebacker in the country in the 2018 class. Do you know anything about Adrian Jackson?
Yes, very good-looking athlete. Saw him in action. Luke Fickell had a great group of linebackers at the camp yesterday that he was working with, and Adrian Jackson was definitely one of those guys. Adrian Jackson, he's got offers from Ohio State, Notre Dame, Colorado, Nebraska, Utah, Missouri. Not the biggest guy, 6'2", 210 pounds, but what we're finding more and more is that they like to bring the guys in at that size and then have Coach Mick put the right last 20 pounds on them, and then you've really got a stud at linebacker. And I think that that's what the staff is envisioning with Jackson. Really thought he performed pretty well yesterday. As I said, that linebacker group, you had Edward Warner, who is a 2018 prospect, the son of Ed Warner, the offensive coordinator for Ohio State. He plays at Olentangy Liberty. He was in that group. You also had Brendan White, which was somewhat interesting because I think most people believe he's going to be a wide receiver at Ohio State. He's also from up in Olentangy. He was with the linebacker group yesterday, said that he and Coach Fickell had talked the day before, and Coach Fickell said, I want to see how you do at linebacker. So he came in and was running with the linebackers yesterday, and obviously more than held up his end. He's going to be a stud. Is he going to be as good as his dad? I think is the question that we're left. And William White played, I believe, 8 to 10 years in the NFL with the Detroit Lions, I think most of it, and was a great Ohio State Buckeye, great ambassador, I feel, for the school, prominent business guy, I think, here in Columbus. And I think that Brendan is going to be, right there. I've got an interview with him that's going to be coming out here in the next day or so. Just very impressed talking to him. But, yeah, getting back on your original topic, I mean, linebackers, to me, Dave, linebacker is a position where they need some help. They only have, 8 guys on scholarship going into this season, and one of them is Raekwon McMillan, who doesn't figure to be there after this season. So they really need to beef up the linebacker core with 2017, 2018 guys.
Sticking with 2018, it looks like Ohio State is in the driver's seat for quarterback Emory Jones from Georgia. He says the Buckeyes are probably his leader. You consider the fact that they landed Joe Burrow in the 2015 class, Dwayne Haskins in the 2016 class, Tate Martell, freshly minted commit on Sunday, 2017 class. If they can then land Emory Jones, I mean, it'd be pretty amazing to stack quarterbacks like that back to back to back to back. Usually, if you land a top quarterback, it's sometimes tough to land a top quarterback in the next class. Well, Urban will have landed top quarterbacks in 4 straight classes if he pulls this off, and it's sounding really good. Sounds like it'll be a surprise at this point, Steve, if Emory Jones is not in Ohio State's 2018 class. What are your thoughts?
Dave, I got a chance to see Jones. Urban Meyer took him over on a side field and worked him out for a little bit, and got to tell you, very impressed with Emory Jones. And you know, as you stand there, we have a lot of downtime at these camps, and you know how it is when we're standing there with all of our colleagues from the different recruiting services and the websites, and everybody was kind of astounded. I think he kind of blew the socks off everybody there. So Emory Jones sounds like he loves Ohio State, had a very good rapport with Josh Myers, one of the commitments for 2017, and I think that it's going to be an upset if he doesn't pick Ohio State. I think it's kind of crazy to just get Tate Martell for 2017 and then to also pluck off one of the top guys for 2018. It kind of runs counterintuitive to the way you think of these things, that everybody is looking for the best opportunity to go play. Well, Urban Meyer and Tim Beck and Ed Warner are doing a great job of selling these guys on the idea that if you come here and win this job, you're going to be in the Heisman Trophy race. You're going to compete for national championships and All-American honors and so on. So the best of the best are flocking to Ohio State right now, and it's a great situation to have. I think Emory Jones, would probably be as good a fit for this offense that they have as anybody out there. I know that he is planning to visit Clemson and Tennessee, and Georgia is also a possibility, his home state school, but I think most people believe it's going to be Ohio State for him. And then that just kind of brings up the discussion, what would be the pecking order down the line? Obviously, J.T. Barrett, he's going to start this year, and if he decides to come back, he would probably start next year. But then you got Joe Burrow, Dwayne Haskins, Tate Martell, and Emory Jones, with Danny Clark also still pending out there, and you just wonder that whole situation. As you said, there was a lot of back scrabble talk about that yesterday as well. What's going to happen with that? But I think in the end, I don't know what else to say. Every time Bill and I talk about it, the words that ring out in my mind are quarterback is the most important position in football, and they have each year one of the top 5 or 10 quarterbacks in the country, if not number 1 in Martell's case, coming to Ohio State. So, I guess the future looks pretty bright at Ohio State, and we're all very cautious about saying big things and they're going to win this and they're going to do that, but they are well positioned for the next 5 years, it seems to me.
I'll leave you with this. Speaking of quarterbacks, give me your take on what will happen with Danny Clark. You touched on this a little bit. If you were a betting man, do you think he'll be in the 2017 class, or just anything you want to say about Danny Clark?
Well, as I said, we had some discussion among you know all the names. I won't mention our competitors on our own podcast, but everybody kind of threw their own 2 cents in on this yesterday as we were standing around the interview tree outside the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. But I just cracked myself up thinking about all the hours that we've all spent together standing there waiting patiently for yesterday's deal. Was they took took the top guys on a tour of the stadium. So imagine this. There's nobody left there but us waiting on these guys to come back from the stadium tour to then get in their cars and leave. So it was, we had plenty of time to discuss this. But Deanie Clark, to me, is a great kid. Let's start right there. So he's done nothing wrong in this whole situation other than, you know, maybe he hasn't progressed like everybody thought he would be to be one of the nation's top quarterbacks. He wasn't an Elite 11 guy or anything like that this year going into his senior year. And yet, he helped Akron-Hoban win the state championship, and it certainly wasn't because he was such a great passer, although he did throw for over 2,000 yards. I think he's a good player. I don't know that he's a great player. So, I am hoping for the best for him. My guess is they stick with this verbal commitment with him and sign him, although, talking to guys yesterday, it sounds like, you know, at some point push comes to shove, they may offer him a gray shirt like they did with Sibley. And in my mind, Clark would then have a very tough decision to make. Does he swallow his pride and stick with Ohio State, or does he try and find a soft destination landing place where he can play? I mean, to be very honest, he's looking up at 4 or 5 guys right now at that position if he enrolls next year, and that's, you know, not a knock on him. That's just the facts of the matter. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how it turns out, and I'm hoping for the best for him. And as we said, Ohio State is well positioned for the future.
Well, great stuff as always out of Steve Helwagen. Thank you for the wisdom, Steve, and thank you to the listeners out there for tuning into the show. I appreciate it. I hope everyone has a great day. Let's hear some Buckeye swag, best damn band in the land.